Thank you for 100K. Hey everyone, Ace of Clay here, and welcome to this very special video, my first official YouTube giveaway, where I will be sculpting things to give away as a thank you for 100,000 subscribers. In this video, I will be sculpting mini versions of some of my past sculptures, as well as a couple of relief sculpture magnets. So if you want to win one, stay tuned until the end of the video, where I will be giving you all of the details on how to enter. And if you're watching this in the future, I'm sorry you missed it, but there will definitely be more giveaways to come. So anyway, like I said, stay tuned until the end of the video, and let's get started. Alright, let's make some sculptures. We're going to start with a mini version of Sal the anglerfish, and just really quick, all the materials that I use in this video are listed in the description box below, along with my affiliate links if you'd like to purchase anything. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Sal or Sally, she is an anglerfish that I created from a ceramic duck figurine in a thrift store transformation video. It is the second video I put out this year, and actually the first one to get some real attention. It was my first video to hit 100,000 views on YouTube within its first week. I think right now she's sitting on 500,000, so that's amazing. I still haven't had a video hit 1 million yet, but we're getting there, and we're gonna keep going. Alright, so as you just saw there, I shaped out a shape of a duck for the underlying structure of our Sal figurine, and then I covered the whole thing in Super Sculpey, and now I'm just adding that red colored clay inside the mouth just because I'm not going to be able to fit my paintbrush in there once I add all the teeth. And I'm adding the teeth now, just a little bit of bacon bond there, and then I have all of these teeth left over from when I made the original Sal, so that was great. I didn't have to make any more. And I'm just pressing them in like that. Now I'm just adding a top lip, I guess you could call it, and that's just a snake of clay that tapers at both ends, and I'm blending the top edge in with the rest of the sculpture and leaving the bottom edge the same. And then we're just going to layer some more folds like that going up on the face, just like the original Sal. Now we're just adding a small detail, just this little piece of flesh on the underside of the lure, blending that in, and the lure is that dangling appendage on the top of an anglerfish's head. Now for Sal's eyes, I painted the backs of these 16mm cabochons with some folk art color shift paint in the color Aqua Flash. And I'm just pressing those into the clay right here and blending everything in. And to blend, I'm just jumping in between my ball styluses, firm detail tools, and spoon tool, as you can see here. And we're just adding the other eye, same way as the first one. Now we're just adding a couple ridges to the top of the lure, like so. Another snake of clay that tapers at either end, and then blending it in with the rest of it. And we're going to make 3 of those. Then once those ridges are done, we're going to give Sal some gills. Like that. Do I really need to explain how I made these? Snake of clay, blend it in. Like that. Double it up. Alright. Looking good, looking good. Now I'm adding the tail fin to the back of his body like so, pressing it on, blending in, and then adding a dorsal fin. Now it's time to add the bottom teeth, and I'm just reinforcing everything with a little bit of bacon bond and then pressing in each tooth like that. And then if you're wondering what these teeth are made out of, it is pre-baked, translucent Sculpey Primo. And that's looking pretty good. Now I'm just poking some holes for the future bioluminescent spots that we're going to add, and here I am adding them prematurely. I realized later on it'll probably be easier for me to paint this thing first and then add the glow-in-the-dark clay so that I'm not having to paint around each little dot. And then here I'm just adding a texture with a small pearlizing tool and then detailing the fins with my Dental Explorer tool. Now it's time to give her some pectoral fins. Just adding those right now, blending them in with my spoon tool, and then detailing them with that Dental Explorer tool again. And then now it's time to add the bioluminescent part of the lure, and this is just a ball of glow-in-the-dark Sculpey 3. And I added a little bit of Bacon Bond just to reinforce the connection. Now the last step is to make a base for sail. This is just a piece of domed clay that I textured with a ball of aluminum foil, added some Bacon Bond, and then gently pressed sail onto the top of it. And then I brushed the entire surface with clay softener, and it's ready for its first bake. Now to paint, I'm using some Folk Art Cobalt Blue that I mixed with pure black, and I watered that down just a little bit to maintain some of the translucency of the clay. I'm just going over the entire surface and then doubling up on areas that I want to be darker. Now we're just adding some shading with a finer paintbrush, adding a couple veins to the tip of the lure there. And now for the color shift purple flash that's going to give this a wonderful iridescent finish. I love this part. It just really finishes the whole thing off. Now we're just painting up the base really quick with some dark brown and then wiping the excess off with a paper towel, and then adding some veins with some Folk Art color shift paint in the color Emerald Flash. Just scratching off the excess paint on the cabochons, darkening the inside of her mouth. Then after adding the glow-in-the-dark clay to all of those pre-made holes and baking again, I'm glazing the surface with resin, and Baby Sal is done. Alright, on to sculpture number 2. We have a mini toxic waste sludge monster that we're going to make, and I'm going to make this the exact same way as I made the first one, starting with making the barrel from scratch. As you saw there, I used that little bottle as my guide for the aluminum foil, covered that in Super Sculpey, and now we're adding the ridges to the outside of the can. Once all the ridges are added and blended, I am just rubbing the surface with some cornstarch, and this works as a great abrasive to remove fingerprints and smooth everything out. Now it's time to make the slime monster. I'm just using some aluminum wire here, 12 gauge to be exact, and I'm shaping out the shape of the monster. And because this is so small, I didn't have to bulk anything out. I just have that wire to reinforce its neck. Now we're just adding the head. There's a ball of clay, bulking that out a little bit, adding the lower jaw. And I'm just working this guy until he looks like a mini replica of the original. So I'm just going in there with all kinds of different tools, bulking out the neck a little bit more with another piece of clay, smoothing everything out. And now it's time to add the slime texture to the surface here. After making the first one and struggling with how to do that, I'm pretty confident in how to make it now, so this part was actually really easy and really satisfying because it went so quickly. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially being so small. I am not used to making small things. I don't really like making small things. These were fun to make 100%, but like anything smaller than this, like you can forget it. Like, not happening. My hands are too big, so half the time I'm smashing what I'm doing and having to start over, and I'd rather just stick with larger things. Now that our slime monster is pretty much done and the can has been pre-baked, I'm just seeing how everything is going to look, making it a little bigger. Doing some more of that slime texture here. I'm glad I widened it a little bit. After adding some Bacon Bond, I just added the monster, brushed the surface with some translucent liquid Sculpey. After baking, it's time to paint. I'm going to paint the inside of the can with some Folk Art Pure Black, and then paint the outside of the can Folk Art, this is called Glazed Carrots. And I'm doing that. This makes a great base color for the neon paint we are going to add next. There we go, there's that neon orange going on. And for those of you who asked on the original Slime Monster video, yes, these paints are UV reactive, and one day I'll upload a picture of them under a black light so you can see. Now we're just adding that radioactive symbol here. I started to draw it with a pencil first, but then I just decided to freehand it, and it worked out, and I'm happy with it. Now we're just weathering that logo a little bit by dabbing some glazed carrots on the edges of it, like so, and then weathering the can with some brown. And I used an old paintbrush for this, and this worked great because it created these nice little streaks that created the effect that I wanted. Now we're going to paint the base color of the monster with some folk art grass green, like so. And then as I made these, I kind of realized that I liked the way I did it the first time, so I pretty much followed exactly what I did the first time. I didn't change anything. I thought I would, but it worked out, and this is seriously the exact same process that I used on the big version. So that's cool. Now we're just adding some shadows all over the slime, and then I'm brushing the surface of the slime monster with some neon green, and then further highlighting that neon green with some neon yellow. And that really makes it pop. Now for the fun part, I will be painting the surface with this folk art color shift paint in the color Green Flash. And that's looking pretty good. Looks exactly like the original one. Now we're just glazing it with some resin. You can see Baby Sal in the background. And after waiting 24 hours for it to dry, it's done. Moving on to the next one. The remaining pieces that I make in this video are relief sculptures that will be magnets. I decided to turn Pretzel the Clown, the Grim Reaper, and the Bride of Frankenstein into magnets, and here I will just be showing the process of making Pretzel and the Reaper to save time. Sorry, Bride, maybe another time. But here we are making Pretzel. Pretzel is one of my all-time favorite sculptures that I've ever made, and I really wanted to include him in this giveaway. Now, the original figurine, I thought of him and decided to have you submit your clown art for the video at the absolute last minute. I thought of him on Monday, sculpted him Tuesday and Wednesday, and then released him into the world that following Friday. And it just so happens that he's my favorite sculpture right now. And it's so weird how that works out. Sometimes the things that you make on a whim are the things you end up liking most. Right now, I'm just adding his lower eyelids to go with his big grin that I'll be adding. I'm trying to think of new things to say about this without sounding redundant, because I know a lot of people that are watching this right now have seen the Pretzel video and all the videos of the sculptures that I'm remaking here, so I'm trying to keep it interesting. What else can I say? Just added his bottom lip, blended that in, adding some cheeks here, and trying to keep him as close to the original as possible. The size of the head that I'm making here is the exact same size as the head on the original figurine. Now I'm just adding some final details and wrinkles with my Explorer tool. Now we're adding the teeth, one at a time like that, using my X-Acto knife and various other tools to get those on. Creating an indent in his nose for the nose, adding some Bacon Bond to attach that, and then finishing off all the details. Now it's time to add the hair. To reinforce the hair, I just add a toothpick into his head and then press the hair onto that. Then once the hair is shaped out, it's time to add that rough curl texture using my firm detail tool here. Add some ears really quick. Then for the final detail, I'm just going to add a row of ruffles under his chin like so. Added some Bacon Bond to reinforce that connection. How many times have I said that in this video? Adding that on right here. Final details, and now it's time to bake. After he's baked, it's time to paint. I am painting his skin with a couple coats of Folk Art Boulder. Once the base color is on and dry, I'm just darkening the eye sockets. I tinted the Boulder color with a little bit of pure black. And I'm just going into all of the recessed areas on his face with that. And then for all the raised areas, I lightened the Boulder color with some titanium white. Now it's time for his makeup. I'm using this very fine paintbrush to paint the black lines above and below his eyes. And this paintbrush, I bought it for $8 like 40 years ago, and it still works great. I will never throw it out. You really do get what you pay for when it comes to paintbrushes. Now we're just painting his eyes. This color is called Buttermint. Now I'm just adding his pupils with some black paint on a ball stylus, like that. Then for his nose, we're going in with his lips, we're going in with some Imperial Red that I tinted with black. Painting that on, and then painting his nose with some Alizarin Red that I tinted with black. Now his teeth are taffy, and then for his hair, we are mixing hot saffron and buttermint to get this orange color. This is a little brighter than the original, but I do tone it down in the next step, which is right here. Some Alizarin Red that I tinted with black, watered down, and then got it into all the nooks and crannies. Now we're painting his ruffles with some darkened pure magenta, and he's done! Pretzel the magnet is done. Moving on to the last one I will be demonstrating for you in this video, which is the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is another one of my favorite sculptures, and he went over really well with all of you, so I definitely wanted to be sure to include him in the giveaway. And in the future, if you're wondering, I am planning on selling sculptures like the ones I'm making in this video, either miniature versions of sculpts that I've made, like these, or magnets, pins, maybe even resin cast ones. Just give me a little bit of time to figure some stuff out, but I promise something like that is going to be coming soon. Alright, after getting the general shape of the Reaper's skull figured out, it's time to shape out his jaw. And I'm doing that here, and then attaching it like so. Once that's on, I'm just trimming off some excess clay here that we don't need, blending everything together, making it look really good, finishing it off, and then adding the teeth. I'm using my Dental Explorer tool to make these. And then a very, very small ball stylus to create the arches on top, like so. And then a color shaper to add a couple more indents. Now it's time to create his pointy hood. Now, since his hood is a bigger piece, I just bulked it out with some aluminum foil and attached it to the top of his head with a paper clip and some Bacon Bond. And now I'm just adding the rest of the fabric around his face. Now for my favorite part, it's time to add some folds and wrinkles to the fabric on his hood, and then texture it with the side of my sculpting tool. Like that, just like the original one. And then last step before baking, brush the surface with clay softener. And he's baked, looking pretty good. Now it's time to paint the skull, and I'm going to use Folk Art Taffy for the base color of this. And then after a couple coats, I'm going to lighten that taffy color with some titanium white and stipple it on all of the raised areas on his face. And then once this is done, I'm going to go in with some brown to add some shading, like so. Highlight it some more, and then outline all of the teeth. Once the teeth are done, I'm just painting his eye sockets black using a very fine paintbrush to make these as perfect as possible. Now it's time to paint his hood. I'm using that same fine paintbrush to make sure that I don't get any black on the skull. And we're just going in, getting close. For the last step, once the black is completely dry, I'm going in with some dark gray that I tinted with brown to dry brush the surface and bring out that fabric texture. And then for all of the magnet pieces, I attached a magnet to the back of each one with some E6000 industrial adhesive. And they're done! I really hope you like these, guys. It was a lot of fun revisiting some of my past work. I definitely plan to do more giveaways in the future. Let me know which one was your favorite, and then stay tuned to learn how you can enter the giveaway and win one of them. And that's a wrap. Just to recap, here are the 5 sculptures you could win. We have a mini Sal, mini Slime Monster, and then 3 magnets, one of Pretzel, the Grim Reaper, and the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, I haven't done a giveaway in almost 5 years, and that one was actually on Instagram when I had like 8 followers, so this is definitely going to be a learning experience, so I want to keep it as organized as possible. Now, with all that said, to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is comment down below, say anything you want, say hi, say which sculpture you'd like, say how much sugar you put in your coffee this morning, whatever. Then be sure you're subscribed to my channel, like this video, and then fill out the Google form in the description box below. It's literally 3 questions, and this is how I'm gonna contact you if you win. Like I said, I wanna keep this as organized as possible. The 5 winners will be chosen at random, and I will announce them at the end of next week's video on Friday, May 10th. I will also pin them in a comment on this video as well. All of the official rules are listed in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, being here, and for 100K. You guys are awesome. I have so much planned for the future, and I can't wait to show you. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Ace of Clay. Good luck to everyone that enters the giveaway, and I will see you in the next one.